Hey everyone, Golden Ninja 3000 here again. Today I'm back with another prop replica review, this time for my own custom lightsaber from Savi's workshop at Galaxy's Edge in Disneyland, California. I'm not a big Star Wars fan. Honestly, I don't really like Star Wars, and I only started considering myself a fan in the last week because I really loved the Acolyte finale and that whole show, and I really enjoyed visiting Galaxy's Edge. I don't do theme park coverage on here, but I do live in Southern California now. I've been to Universal a ton and just visited Disneyland with one of my best friends for the first time. And it was so much fun. The Galaxy's Edge part specifically, the rest of Disneyland kind of sucked. But Galaxy's Edge was so cool that it did make me a Star Wars fan, basically. My friend and I went halvesies on this lightsaber because the Savi's Workshop experience costs $220 US plus tax, which is just way too much money. It is very overpriced, and we'll talk about that later. But she wanted the experience of building her own lightsaber because she's a huge Star Wars fan, and I wanted a lightsaber because I like cool stuff. And so we split the cost of it, and I kept the saber, and she built it according to my specifications. As you can see, I went with the power and control theme. If you don't know how Savi's Workshop works, basically you can pick from 4 different themes, and they each have a set of 8 different parts that you can choose from. Actually, it's more than 8. I think it might be 10 different parts because you have 2 different emitters that you can pick. There are 4 different sleeve designs that you can pick, and you use 2 sleeves. There are 2 different switch designs, and there are also 2 different pommel designs. So there are these 4 themes. You can't mix and match between the themes. Power and control is the dark side Sith theme, and the Sith are what I find the most interesting thing in Star Wars by far. That's why I really loved the Acolyte, and so that's the theme I went with. I also bought this stand for the lightsaber, or rather my friend bought it for me as a birthday present. This cost $50 at Doc Ondar's Den of Antiquities, I think is what the shop is called. And I do think this stand is pretty cool. I'll just get it out of the way now. You can slide these sections along the stand to adjust to the length of your saber, so I think that that's pretty cool. And it does light up. You can see a USB power input at the back, so let me go ahead and hook that up. So here's the stands with the lights on. This took way too long to get it to work both times I've tried to turn it on. I don't know what's wrong with it. Maybe the cable included just isn't particularly good. But honestly, I'm let down by the lights. It's only these little lights in the corners, and they look fine. I mean, I'll turn off the studio lights so you can see the glow a little bit better. And I mean, it looks cool. You can press a little button on the side here, and it will change the color of the lights, because these are all of the different colors of Kyber crystal that you can buy at the gift shop. And so, I mean, it's an okay effect. It's just baffling to me that this thing costs $50. So maybe that's on me for not doing my research more thoroughly, but I really thought that there were lights in these things because they're transparent. So I thought that there was some kind of lighting system where it would really reflect straight off the saber. But no, that's not how this stand works. I think those are just there to make it look like the lightsaber is levitating or something, which I don't think it's very successful at doing. This thing's not worth $50. Don't waste your money on it like me. It looks really cool, but the color changing feature is not what you're looking for. The lightsaber itself is pretty cool though, so let's go ahead and talk about that now. I guess I'll just move this stand off to the side. But yeah, I mean, the saber is a nice length. I guess it's at least a foot long, but I haven't actually measured it. It looks very nice. I mean, I really like the power and control aesthetic. That's why I built one, but I do think it looks the best next to this protection and defense theme. I think looks very High Republic inspired, which is cool. The pieces that I selected for mine have these exposed wires. I really like this emitter because it kind of looks like the Tower of Orthanc from Lord of the Rings. I like this textured grip a lot, and then this is the power and control symbol, which you also get on a pin when you do this building process, but my friend kept the pin because she wanted it, and, I didn't because I wanted the saber. And then there is this kind of matching pommel design. It's got a little clip. I did not buy one of the lightsaber belt clips that they were selling because they were $20, and I just got one for $9 on Amazon. But you can clip this to any carabiner or whatever. And yeah, I like this pommel design because it looks like the emitter. And then the switch is at the back. Right now, the saber is just misfiring because there's no blade attached. I'll show it with the blade attached in just a second. But I do want to point out that the pieces don't line up properly on a lot of these things. So you can see that like my emitter isn't lined up exactly right with like this design at the back, and I can tighten it a little bit more, but then that slightly throws it off at the front. That is insanely disappointing for a $200 product to not have the pieces lining up correctly. But let me be clear, that's super minor. I think that this piece is not lined up correctly because I believe that this groove isn't supposed to be on the side. I think it's supposed to be at the back. And if that's the case, then this is off by about 90 degrees. But you'll see there are other pieces that are way, way worse, and also we will get to that. I do want to say that these are all metal. Like the chassis itself is plastic, but all of these pieces are referred to as scrap metal, and they are indeed metallic. There is a look at where the blade inserts, but before we get to the blade insertion, I want to show you guys how this thing is constructed. So you can basically just screw off all of these pieces, starting with the pommel and the emitter. So I'll go ahead and take those off. I've like assembled and disassembled this lightsaber like a million times at this point. Then these pieces slide right off. And then the switch comes apart by just kind of working your finger between these grooves. And then inside you can see the Kyber crystal. So I did get a red Kyber crystal because I wanted to be evil, but you can buy extra Kyber crystals. So I did buy a white one as well because I really love Ahsoka, and so I wanted a lightsaber, a white lightsaber like in homage to her. You can buy extra Kyber crystals at the shop. They are like $16 each now, which is crazy. I thought that they were like $12 each, which is still kind of expensive. They're just pieces of plastic with some kind of like RFID thing inside, but I mean, these things, in my opinion, shouldn't cost more than $8, but definitely not more than 10. I didn't realize that the price had been raised after the research I had done online. So I was kind of on the fence about buying more, but I didn't like the look of the yellow color. And we built the saber with a purple colored Kyber crystal because you can choose from like a selection of 4 colors while you build, which is also kind of crazy. Why can't you choose from the full selection of 6 colors? They only give you 4 in the shop. But my friend wanted the purple crystal, so we built it with that, and she kept it, and then I bought the red one to put in here. So that's what the saber looks like deconstructed. But as I previously mentioned, these are only some of the pieces that you can use to build your lightsaber, but there are a lot more options. Now, people online said that Savi's Workshop stopped selling extra scrap metal like a couple of years ago, but at least at Disneyland's Galaxy Edge, they are selling more scrap metal again. So I got a whole bag full of all of the extra power and control lightsaber parts. And I really like this bag, by the way, so I'm kind of glad that was, free with my purchase, because each one of these pieces of scrap cost an extra $25. So I spent $125 more buying all of these pieces so that I could mix and match the saber some more. Because to be honest, they do not give you any time to actually mix and match when you're in the shop. You need to know exactly what you want because you only have like 3 minutes to build the saber. There's very, very little playing around, and that is extremely frustrating when you're paying $220 for this experience. So these are the 2 emitter designs. We have the spiky one, and then this one is much more classic. I do like it quite a bit, but I just prefer this one, so I'm not going to really use this second emitter. Then you have the 2 pommel designs. This one has that textured design continuing that we saw on the switch and one of the sleeve pieces, and then we obviously already saw the other one. This is the textured switch with like that kind of power and control logo. This switch came rubber banded together, but I'll just take that off. It has a couple of exposed wires, which, I mean, they look like wires. Oh, wait, they are rubbery. I didn't even realize that. Okay, that is nice attention to detail, because I thought that they were just metal, but no, they're actually rubbery. Okay, so I like that a lot more than I thought. I really do like this switch design because flicking this one feels nicer than flicking the other one. And then we already saw these 2 sleeves. The other 2 sleeves have like this kind of, this looks like it was built with junk metal, like out of a shipyard or something. It's just got like this repeating motif. And then this one has some more exposed wires. And these ones also feel kind of rubbery, so that's also better than I expected. But I really like this sleeve design the least because it's definitely the flattest to me. I get the look it's going for, but there just needed to be so much more depth in this little window for it to actually be good, in my opinion. and then it does have a little groove at the back. I'll do one test build of like the opposite saber design so you guys can just see what it looks like. I played with a bunch of different combinations, you know, like after I got home from Disneyland, but I still think that the combination that I got is the best. I really like the noises this thing makes too. It's kind of loud when you're alone in your room at 11:47 p.m. like I am when I'm filming this video, but I don't know. I really like it, which is again weird considering that I'm not a big Star Wars fan, although this lightsaber is really doing a lot of work to make me a Star Wars fan. So this is the exact opposite design. I think that this piece works a lot better at the bottom than it does at the top, just because of like how heavy and bulky looking it is. But this is also going to be a great way for you guys to see how misaligned some of these parts can get. This one, honestly, like isn't even screwing on. There we go. And then last but not least, we have the emitter. Okay, so here is my opposite lightsaber, and you can kind of just see how out of whack it is. This is what really like gets my goat, I guess, for lack of a better term. This is awful, awful, awful quality from a $220 item. Okay, so the pommel is not directly aligned with the switch, so that doesn't make any sense because the switch is the thing that like everything should be centered around. This piece is off by, again, almost 90 degrees because this like exposed wiring design is supposed to face the switch. Then the emitter is just totally like turned off to the side because, again, the emitter should be like, it should be facing out, right? I don't think it should be facing to the side, unless I'm wrong and I just don't know my lightsaber lore and the emitter is always like 90 degrees off from all of like the actual detail. It's just nowhere near anything that's actually like on the lightsaber, so that makes no sense to me. Like the emitter opening is facing the back of the pommel. That's definitely not right. Like when this thing is hanging on your belt, if you clipped it onto your belt like this, the emitter would be facing into your thigh, and shouldn't it be facing outwards? I don't know, maybe it should be facing inwards, but at any rate, you can see that none of it is lined up properly because they aren't even a full 90 degrees off from each other. They're at like strange angles, and it just looks really, really, really bad. And so that is what is crazy to me about these things, is that I don't understand how these pieces aren't lining up properly on such an expensive experience. And I will have more to say on that later. I did just want to slide on this wire piece because this piece is supposed to line up perfectly with the wire switch. And as you can see, it does not. Like these two things are supposed to line up exactly, so it looks like a continuous, like two exposed wires. So this is just awful quality, in my opinion. And I really think that Disney is super phoning it in with these lightsabers and overcharging for the experience because you don't have enough time to test out these different combinations. And then they're sending you home with janky pieces that don't line up together to actually make the thing that you want to build. The lightsaber blades are a separate piece. You do get one with your purchase of the saber, and they're also sold separately in the shop because I believe you can get a longer one. I think that this is like the 32-inch one, and there's like a 36-inch and maybe like a 39 or 40. I don't remember exactly, but there's at least one bigger size that you can get. It's pretty long, so it doesn't really fit entirely on camera, but this is what the base of it looks like, and it just slots straight into the emitter. You have to like push it in and like feel around for the grooves, and then you squeeze it in and rotate it clockwise, I think. And I do like the noise it makes when it clicks inside. And yeah, then you can wield your lightsaber. It does look pretty good for the most part. Mine was dirty when they gave it to me, so that was like really annoying, to be honest. I need to make sure not to damage it again. But yeah, like there was like a dirty, filthy crease like going up it, like full of like brown dirt, like actual dirt. So I don't know why they were trying to give me like what looked like a dirty and used lightsaber blade. I did ask them to swap it out, and I showed them my receipt. They gave me a new one. The new blade was scratched at the top, so I did ask them to switch it out again, and so they gave me a different one. But as you can see, like this one still isn't perfect. Like there are some spots in it. And again, that's just like that little spot. It doesn't really matter. You don't notice it when the blade is on, but I just expect better quality from Disney. When you're paying that much money for a lightsaber, you shouldn't be giving me dirty and scratched blades like in the shop. And that also goes back to like the pieces not aligning, because even like this piece, you'll notice it doesn't like lock in place properly. Actually, I mean, it's doing better today, but like it's usually like really loose. So maybe I just tightened it more today, but usually it's like astonishingly loose on the chassis. And I did get it swapped out for another one, and so this is the second one, but it's still like a little bit too loose sometimes. Like the bottom piece, as you can see, like the bottom piece is nowhere near as loose as the top piece when you're just touching it. But as for turning the saber on, I need to back up a little. Well, actually, I guess I should leave the saber in frame, and I'll just lean as far away from the camera as I can. But you just flick the switch and the saber goes on. It does look pretty cool. I'm going to go ahead and turn the lights off. And yeah, that's a really nice glow. It's coming up a little bit orangey on camera, but it doesn't look orange in person. It does look red. And yeah, it's very, very loud. As you can see, the color does not go all the way to the tip of the blade because like the actual like rounded dome part doesn't have any LEDs in it. And you can kind of see like the color of the LEDs. Whoa, that is getting very bright. But yeah, you can kind of see the LED strips inside the blade. It's worse in person. It's not as noticeable on camera because it's kind of blowing out the exposure. But yeah, I mean, this is a pretty cool look. And as you wave it around, it does make little noises. And I'm sorry that I can't show it to you even better, but it's just way too long to fit in camera. Hopefully that's a little bit better, even though you can't see the entire blade, but it is really cool and a lot of fun to twirl around, even if you're really afraid about hitting anything with the delicate blade. Now we're going to go ahead and swap out the Kyber crystal. This video is getting pretty long, but basically you just have to push up on this upper part, and the crystal just slides right out. And then you kind of have to position, the tip of the crystal in that circle, basically, and then kind of force this part up. It's a little bit tough to get in. Oh, it almost worked. So let me try one more time. If I can't do it, I'll just have to do it off camera. But yeah, you need to like force it up into this circle and then like stand it upright in the base. And there you go. If you succeed, it will glow. You can see that there's a white light in the chassis now, so let me put it back together and light it up. Okay, so here is the lightsaber with the white Kyber crystal in it, and I did stick the other emitter on, just so you can see what it looks like with the blade coming out of it. Again, it's a very clean look. I do like it, but I'm going to stick with my Orthanc style emitter. And then if I go ahead and turn this on, not much of a difference, but you can see, I mean, here at least, I hope that there is a different sound for the different color Kyber crystal. So I think that that's awesome. And I kind of have to yell over the sound, but I'll go ahead and turn off the lights. And here is the white color. It is a little bit bluish. And like I said, you can kind of start to see the rings of the LEDs inside it. Honestly, it looks better on camera than it does in person, but it is really cool, and I'm glad I got a second color. And hopefully that's a better look at how the entire saber looks when the white blade is coming out. So overall, I think that you can really feel my sentiments on the Savi's Workshop lightsaber. It's really cool, but it's just not worth the price. I don't think it's a $200 item or experience, because a lot of people are like, oh, you need to do it for the experience. I didn't think the experience was that great. Again, like I said, you don't actually have enough time to properly customize your lightsaber. You need to know what you want before you go in. I'm really glad I found this website that lets you like match up pictures of the pieces so you can get a sense of what you want. Without that website, I think we would have been paralyzed with indecision. So I will link it in the comments if I can find it again. But also the rest of the experience, maybe it's just because I'm not a Star Wars fan, because again, my friend really wanted to do this to pay for the experience, which I didn't understand. I would have been fine not getting a lightsaber because I thought that paying that much money for the experience, like, I just didn't get it because I'm not a Star Wars fan. But she said that she got chills like when she felt the Force theme come in and like everyone lit up their lightsabers for the first time. So maybe I just don't get it because I'm not that kind of diehard fan. But I feel like I really saw the flaws in it. Like I said, it was super rushed. At one point, like the person leading the workshop, they were literally cut off by the voice of Yoda coming in as part of like the planned show, because every group only gets 15 minutes in there. So she was talking about our lightsabers and then had to cut herself off and go like, ooh, oops, actually wait, because Yoda's voice was coming in and the entire room was turning green. That really irritated me because she was talking super fast the whole time and then getting cut off by like the pre-recorded voice. It was just a new low in my opinion. So I don't think the experience is worth it. I don't think the lightsaber is worth it for that much money. For that much money, I think you should have gotten a lot more included with the actual purchase. Like, you should have gotten a stand. You should have been able to pick from all 6 Kyber crystal colors instead of just a select 4 in the shop, and then have to go to the other shop to buy the other 2 if you wanted those colors. You do get this free carrying case with your purchase, which has the Savi's Workshop logo on it, and it's quite long because it's the length of the lightsaber blade, so I can't really fit the whole thing in frame. So, I mean, that's nice that you get something to carry your lightsaber around in, but they sell better lightsaber carriers at the shop for $50 that have like pockets to store accessories like extra Kyber crystals, and they look fancier. And so it's just that. It's the fact that, like, yes, you get an exclusive lightsaber carrier, which some people might find cool, but I'd rather get the shop one for free with your purchase than get, like, the less useful one that doesn't have the extra pockets and stuff that the other one has. But maybe I'm being too cynical and too negative about it. I do think the lightsaber is cool. I just think that people deserve more from their experience when they're paying this much money. And I do think the product itself could be a lot better because, like I said, of that misalignment of pieces and everything. It's just it's not right. You shouldn't be having those problems on such an expensive item and in such like a high-end role-playing experience. I don't regret doing it with my friend because, like I said, she's a huge Star Wars fan, and so I'm really glad that she was happy with assembling the lightsaber. And I do think that we both found it very expensive, but we're both still glad we did it. You know, it was like a once in a lifetime thing. I would not go back there for like the building component. If I could just buy my own custom lightsaber for like $150, I would do that, but I wouldn't pay like the full price to like do the whole build again. But that's it for today. Don't forget to comment, like, and subscribe, and check out my website, goldenninja3000.com, and I'll see you guys in more videos soon. Bye for now.